does digitizing manuscripts preserve the New Testament? Well, I'm going to break this question into two parts. And the first part has to do with digitizing for good archival quality, and I'll get into the details on that. Let's go back to when we started to get photographs of New Testament manuscripts. We do have most of our New Testament manuscripts on microfilm, very poor quality microfilm. And that is how scholars have had to access the New Testament manuscripts for about 80 years. And for quite a few of them still, that's the only access that most scholars have to them. But those microfilms are about 1/300th the quality of the digital images that we can produce now. When I started CSNTM in 2002, we had just a 4 megapixel camera. And yet our goal was to make sure every single image that we produced could be read more easily than if a person had been looking at the manuscript directly. And that has been true for all hundreds of thousands of pictures that we've taken. So digitizing protects the New Testament and preserves the New Testament by making sure that people don't need to be opening these manuscripts all the time, as was necessary before there was microfilm, and also because it becomes a complete archival copy of that manuscript at that point in time. So even if people were not opening these manuscripts, because they're all made of organic material, they all deteriorate over time. There's another way in which digitizing these manuscripts preserve them. Some of them are in such terrible condition that once we digitize them, we've been told many times by the librarians, we will never open this manuscript again. Not only this, but the quality of the images that we shoot now with 150 megapixel cameras and the formatting that we use, we have everything in multiple formats and we store it in multiple locations. All that preserves these texts for many generations to come in exactly the form in which we photographed them at that library. This is an incredible work that all those who are working in New Testament textual scholarship now have looked at our site and looked at our images because they can't see these manuscripts any other way unless they went to those libraries to look at them. And some of those libraries will say, nope, it's already too far gone. Now, the second part of this question, how does digitizing manuscripts preserve the New Testament? By having these manuscripts so that scholars can have access to these images, they are able to make a more accurate New Testament by comparing manuscript to manuscript all over the world. We have digitally reunited several manuscripts. And on top of that, we're photographing very early manuscripts that scholars have now access to, and they can read them, and it helps them figure out what is most likely the original wording in the vast majority of places in the New Testament.